So at the end of the day, you have to understand public relations is not always just about people liking you. I do need to make you a likable figure, but it's really people knowing who you are and talking about you.
Yes.
And as long as they're talking about you and they know who you are, they're going to innately support you, whether they like you or not, because they're watching you.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the New Rich Podcast, the number one podcast for entrepreneurs and creators to help you build a successful online business. I hope your week has been going wonderful. If you are just watching for the first time, Uyi Abraham, and my co-host is
Dr. Faith Abraham. Welcome back, New Rich Nation.
Awesome. We are so excited to see you here today. And Dr. Faith, how's your week been?
My week has been busy. We are preparing for a commencement ceremony. The kids have stuff going on. You have stuff going on. I have stuff going on. But I always say I'd rather be busy than bored. So there's that. How about you?
Yeah, it's been really wonderful, coming to the end of the year. So many things going on, commencement and Vonza and the kids and trying to balance everything, being a dad, a husband, entrepreneur, and everything in between,
Everything.
It's not always that smooth as it looks, but thank God we've been able to really balance that out. And friends, we have a special guest today. I mean, she is amazing. She's a wonderful person, entrepreneur, wife, mother. She's also a publicist, and she also does PRO and great stuff. She helps so many people get noticed. And want to introduce our friend, Ebony Porter Ike. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So how are you feeling today?
I feel good. I feel blessed.
Yes.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so can you tell people about you and first tell them about your background?
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Virginia. I went to Virginia Commonwealth University for undergrad, and I have my master's degree from University of Maryland. I quickly moved to Atlanta, and I've been here for a long time. So even though I'm from Virginia, I feel like I'm a peach. I've been here for so long. I have my own PR marketing and branding agency.
Okay.
Love it. We are celebrating 10 years of business and service. Actually, 10 years. 10 years this month.
Awesome.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. We actually celebrate that next week.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that. But I'm also an executive producer. So I produce documentaries, movies, scripted projects for large networks. So I love doing anything that allows people to bring their dreams to life.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And 10 years is a big deal. I was just speaking with one of my clients yesterday, and she's in dentistry, and this will be her third year. And I was like, that's a big deal because it's usually 3 to 5 years where most businesses close due to a number of reasons. So I was like, you're in the heat of it now. You can get over this. You can knock it out and do anything. So I was just encouraging her about that. But you're 10 years in, ma'am.
10 years. 10
awesome.
years.
What would you say is the source of your success and being able to bypass that pocket of 3 to 5 years and get all the way over to 10?
Well, I will tell you, first of all, there's no such thing as overnight success, right? I've been at this game for a very long time. I started as an entrepreneur as young as probably 8, selling lemonade in front of my parents' house. So I've tried lots of stuff, right? Yes. For me, I think what has stuck and why it stuck was because I finally found that thing that was my passion, right? Okay. And when you find that why God placed you here on earth,
right,
then it's going to work. It is not, doesn't mean it wasn't a lot of work, right? But initially I tried different businesses that I thought was going to be successful because money was involved or because it looked like she succeeded over here, he succeeded on that. But instead, I found something that I was good at and that I believe is the reason why God placed me on this earth. And because of that, the passion drives me. It makes me excited to get up. And I love seeing my clients win. When I see other people win because of the work that we put into their brand or their dream, it's an unbelievable feeling. It's unbelievable.
That is so amazing. So how did you get to do what you do? How did you get into it?
People ask me that all the time.
There's a lot of things you could have done, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I did do, right? Okay. So I will say prior to starting my own agency, I was in corporate America. So I worked in corporate America for a number of years, and I worked in the mergers and acquisition space. Okay. So in that space, I made a lot of money for a lot of people that did not look like us. Right. It was not fulfilling, though. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I had my toes over in the world of entertainment because I've always loved entertainment. I just absolutely loved it. I started doing different things. I, initially started off styling folks and giving consultation in business. I've always been a business guru, right? But I would still go into corporate every day as and handling major deals. But over in the world of entertainment, I loved it. But in the world of mergers and acquisitions, you have to know how to curate messaging. You have to know how to speak to people to make sure that they understand what it is that you're trying to do without causing a lot of angst and fear. And what I realized in the entertainment industry is that they didn't have a lot of people who understood business, right? They had people who did PR, but they didn't understand how to curate those multi-million-dollar deals, how to get the right ambassadors and sponsorships and things of that nature. And I just saw a space for me. I saw a space that made sense. And eventually, at that time, I was a new wife and I had small children. And I had to make a decision. I was on the road probably 3 weeks out of the month, traveling all over the world, looking at multi-billion dollar deals, because I worked for one of the largest companies in the world. And I made a decision. I said, this is not for me anymore. It was other components involved. And I decided that I was ready to do this full time and put all of my eggs in one basket. Because I've been an entrepreneur longer than 10 years. Mm-hmm. But as far as full time, 100%, what I caught was what I ate. Mm-hmm. It's been a decade of that.
Wow, that's so amazing. So right now, what would you say is your specialty? What do you exactly do for clients?
Well, our agency, we offer public relations. We offer marketing, branding, and crisis management. One of the reasons why I became so successful and people began to call our agency quite a bit is because I have a unique ability to create brands that stand out amongst the masses, right? But I also, because I did handle a lot of communication when I was handling mergers and acquisitions, I know how to handle some of the most unique crises in the world. So I handle some very unique, high-profile crisis cases. I'm typically the person that is called. And then that fed into my production company. So I also owned Ebony Eyes Entertainment. So I own EPI Media Group, which is the PR, marketing, and branding agency. Mm-hmm. And then I also own Ebony Eyes Entertainment, which is my production company. I started getting some very unique phone calls from the crisis side that led into great stories that we produced and brought to your tubes. One in particular, which is one of the top-rated documentaries of all time for NBC Peacock, which is the Casey Anthony story, Where the Truth Lies. Mm-hmm. I'm the executive producer for that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Mm-hmm. So crisis management. Now, you heard, maybe you haven't. Let me just say. Mm-hmm. Jada came out. Mm-hmm. And she said, no. Let's talk about it. This is crisis management because she dropped a book. Mm-hmm. So that went into circulation recently. Mm-hmm. And then also an interview came out recently where she shared that she and Will have been separated for 7 years. Mm-hmm. Now, me personally, I would assume that part of her branding, and I think Will's branding as well, is that matrimony between the two of them. Mm-hmm. So now hearing that, I've sensed just from social media, a lot of people are like, kind of like, okay, So you guys have been lying to us. Like they feel betrayed. They feel lied to. How would you help Jada turn the tide around? Because that's crisis management, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turn the tide around.
Or could she be doing it to sell books too?
I thought about that as well.
Right.
I thought about that as well because it is something to talk about.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a tell-all.
Yeah, let's see
I would say it's
what's your take?
well, I think it's
shift so I can really hear what the expert has to say.
I think is an overarching objective, right? So I don't think it's just about the books. I think the books are part of the crisis plan. I think that what they're doing is creating a comeback plan for Will. Okay.
For Will?
For Will.
Jada?
Well, you got to think about it. Let's go back to the slap from Oscars.
Yes.
Right? He still has not come back full circle. And also you going all the way back before the slap, which was the infidelity with August Alsina. There's still a lot of open-ended questions about the marriage. And I think her addressing the marriage front and center and saying, listen, we haven't been together in 7 years actually helps people understand some of the complexities that Will may have been experiencing, right? As a husband that had to publicly go through an acknowledgement of infidelity with her son's friend, having to deal with the, embarrassment that happened at the Oscars. Yes. I think what she's doing is providing people with the insights of life isn't perfect. I think what she is doing too is allowing people to have real conversation about marriage. Marriage is not a straight line.
No.
And I feel like what works for one marriage may be different for another marriage. And I feel like if that works for them, if that is their marriage, if that is their life, if that is what works for them, then who are we to judge that? I think what she said was they made a commitment to God to never divorce. Right? And if that's their commitment, if this is how they're trying to work through it, who are we? There's a lot of things that happen behind closed doors in marriages that we just don't have
we're not
purview to, right? And I think that social media has created an image of falseness, of perfection that most people can't live up to. And I think her being honest about it is a good conversation to have.
Hey, are you a coach, a creator, or an entrepreneur? Listen to me. You need an easy-to-use, simple, and powerful platform to help you run your business online. And that's why I created Vonza.com. Vonza is the best platform for creators to monetize their online business. With Vonza, you get all the tools you need for your business in one place, saving you time and money so that you don't have to be spending time trying to tie all these different tools together that don't really like each other much and wasting money and putting it down the drain. Vonza gives you one platform for your entire business. Here are some of the things you can do on Vonza. You can create and sell your courses, your community, your membership, website, digital products, physical products. In fact, all the tools you need for your online business all in one platform. And here's another good thing too. You get to try it for 14 days. So click the link below and start a free trial today. I'll see you at Vonza.com.
Yeah, I think social media gives people the opportunity to portray their life in a way that displays how they would want it to go. We want everything to be perfect. No issues, no bumps in the road, just a straight forward and upward movement. And so social media allows us to portray ourselves that way or show business to be that way when in actuality, it's not.
It's not.
And we always want to avoid those hard spots, but that's life. It's 50-50, good, bad. But even with the bad, you can learn to appreciate the good because you don't have to be in the bad all the time. So it's kind of that thing. And social media too. Like we can't talk about everything and some things aren't people's business.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It's not.
I think
right.
that's always been my take. I don't really, I kind of see stuff come through my feed sometimes, but I don't really pay attention to those things. Because to me, especially like marriages and people, to me, that's their personal business.
That's right.
Even though they are celebrities, I don't really care who is marrying who or who's doing this. I don't personally.
Yeah.
But obviously, there's a big market for people who care. Yeah. And that's why there's a big celebrity gossip market because people really care. And I think it's kind of sad because we kind of put celebrities in some kind of pedestal like they are not humans, that they don't go through things, that they don't hurt, they don't make mistakes, like the Will slap thing that happened. I think he regretted it, right? You know, but they are also humans. They go through things as well. And sometimes they just need people to just kind of face your own life, leave people alone, let them walk through what they walk through. That's my personal thing. But obviously there are people that they just almost like, some people even just like seeing successful people hurt. It's just weird. They get that enjoyment from it. Oh, so their marriage is not perfect anyway. Their life is not perfect anyway. Oh, their finances is not perfect anyway. Oh, so he's depressed. She's depressed. Like, you know, which is kind of weird. But bringing it to marriage, you know, you are married to a Nigerian.
I am.
Hey.
How's that been? Because you're American, right?
I am.
Okay, because, you know, because you also kind of asked me a similar question. So how's that been? Because there's a kind of a little, I don't know how to put it now. It's not a stigma, but a little apprehension, so to speak, you know, with African Americans marrying Africans, right? You know, either there's this concern about that person just needing them for green card or have multiple wives over there. So let's go to the family, your family background. How did that go? Were your family in celebratory mode? Did they appreciate it? Did you get some pushback? Did you hear is using for green card or he has multiple wives back home?
Well, let me just say,
maybe you might help an American person watching right now.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, before we do that, let me ask you, how long have you been married?
I've been married for 25 years.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So that's to show somebody
To a Nigerian man.
To a Nigerian man. That's
The
possible.
same Nigerian man.
It's possible to be married to a Nigerian or an African for 25 years. And the truth be told, sometimes you're an American, you marry another American, it doesn't even last 2 years.
Yeah.
But they've been together for 25 years. So it's not really about where you come from. It's about the two people involved, right?
Absolutely.
So, but how was that dynamics, you know?
Yeah.
Well, let me just correct something too. I think right now in today's every American, not every, but a lot of American women are trying to bag an African man,
an African prince,
an African prince, or whatever, because they have this perception. They have a perception about African men and things of that nature. Yeah. Now, what I would say is, you know, my husband and I met. We were very, very young when we met, and the concerns about green cards and all that. My husband was already here.
Okay,
he was already, you know, living his life. He was already a citizen. My husband is a little unique because he's very westernized in his thoughts. So it was like dating to me any other guy that I dated, right? Because he was, you know, he didn't have very traditional thoughts. He was a Christian such as I am too. So we didn't have issues with our religious differences. My family got to know him like they got to know any of the rest of the guys that I dated, and they really liked him. They liked his family dynamics. He was a family man. His mother and father were together for a number of years, and we both had a lot in common. Yeah. So it was not as if I met him and then there was a rush to get married next week, and you had a lot of, I would tell any woman, whether it is a African man or Irish man or a Black American man, if somebody's trying to rush you into anything, you should be concerned.
Yeah.
I don't think that, because I've seen a lot of people get used. Right? That just so happened to not be my story. I don't think that I can be a poster child for American women who marry African men and say all African men are just like my husband or all American women are just like me. Because the other part is when you say preconceived notions, you know, it wasn't just about what my family thought about him. It was also about what his family thought about me. Oh, okay. You know, I think I had more issues than probably he did because, you know, a lot of African women did not openly receive me.
Wow.
You know, there were problems with the perception perception of, is she just going to be one of these video girls? Is she one of these hoochie mamas? You know, because the perception of Western music in Africa, a lot of times there's a perception that Black women are a certain way. And so it was more, I think, you know, people had perceptions about whether or not I was going to be, quote unquote, good enough for him. So I just think, you know, from both sides of the equation, it was just like dating anybody else. It really was for me. But what I would caution any woman is not to be forced into anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Take your time. Get to know the person that you are dating. Your soulmate could be across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Who's to say? But I think making blanket statements and saying, you know, that, you know, because it worked for Ebony, it should work for everybody. I can't say that. I can't.
Because that's a generalization, right? And we know what happens with those.
That's right.
They never work. But it's, you know, one of those things where it's like, love is love. You have some good people in other countries and you have some bad people in other countries, and the same for your country. Just have that faith that you are going to connect with the right person.
That's right.
And you guys will work it out, whatever it looks like.
Whatever it is.
So with you being married for 25 years, you guys have kids, you have a demanding business and workload. How were you guys able to manage that? Because I know a lot of times people ask us, like, how are y'all able to do what y'all do and keep up with everything? Child, by the grace of God, I don't know, but that, you know, you could stay in your right mind, but a lot of prioritizing and things like that. But what would you say is your thing? And really, because sometimes men are a little, sorry, I'm going to add this part too. No, let's talk about, because sometimes some men do have a problem with their wives being
busy, and needed.
Yes, and needed outside of him. Even the kids might be a problem. Like, the kids need you too much. I don't have you to myself. So how did you guys work that? Not hubby, not saying that that's
I think for me, I think one of the winning parts for us is, as I mentioned before, we met when we were really young.
Okay.
So everything that we've been able to accomplish, we accomplished together. So he knew when he met me, I was extremely ambitious and I was extremely aggressive. And I think that was one of the things that attracted him to me. And throughout the years, we built together. He's seen the sacrifices. I've seen his sacrifices. And it's just been a part of our lives. We talk about what we're going to do. Like, I'm going to be out of town for da-da-da-da-da. We have to plan these things around each other's schedules. We talk about how we're going to handle situations with the kids, and we have a great support system. My parents actually live in the city too, so they've been able to help me a lot with the kids throughout the years of us. And I try to incorporate my kids as much as possible, but I cannot sit here and lie and say it's been easy. There's no such thing as work-life balance. Something is going to suffer. And there's been periods where I've missed things that I probably should not have missed. There's been times where I probably have not been the most attentive wife. There's been times where I probably wasn't the best mom. And the most that you can do is recognize that and then try to not do that again. I mean, I think anybody that says that you can make it all the way to the hilt and also be the 100% best mother and best wife is just not truthful. It's not truthful. I try to be the best person that I can be, though. I don't try to intentionally be a bad wife or intentionally be a bad leader at my company or a bad mother. But sometimes you may forget things, right? And it's just life. It's life.
Wow, that's a very good point. So maybe this might help some women out there too, who are driven, ambitious, and they have big goals for their life, but they're always feeling this guilt about sacrificing their family or their children, especially for
Mom
that,
guilt.
right? So how did you handle that? Did you feel guilt? Like, oh my God, why am I here making money for the family when I should be at soccer game with Bobby or Susie or whatever the case is, right? How did you navigate that maternal guilt, if I might call it so?
You know, I don't know that you ever really master unless you just are a cold person. You know, it's guilt that's there. You explain to your children as much as possible. And then in many decisions I make in business that I can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't be a part of. Again, there may be a deal that I lost. Something's going to suffer. But what I did do is try to incorporate my family as much as possible in the things that I'm doing. Like now, my son is a junior at Georgia State, and he interns at my agency. So I try to incorporate him as much there. Our relationship now is, you know, I've always been a doubting mom, right? I don't want to send that message. My kids have always been my world. But was I a stay-at-home mom making cookies every day, standing at the door, waiting for you to come in the door? That was not my life, right? That's just not who I am. But I don't want to lead the impression that I've been an absent mother. Not that. It's just that I'm not stay-at-home Susie. But my son now is, at the agency. So I've been able to build a different relationship with him, right? Because now I'm not just mom. I'm now boss, but I'm also mentoring him and preparing him for that next level in his life. My daughter, I try to incorporate her with as much stuff that I have going on. It's amazing that my kids have found an interest in the same industry that I'm in, right? And I think they do that. They make a conscious effort to do that as well, because I think they also want to build that relationship as well with mom. And we can have those conversations. So during the summers, my daughter interns at the office she loves doing it on her fall breaks. She wants to come down to the agency. So I think for us, it's building a relationship around the things that I love to do as well.
Yeah. I think for a lot of moms, they call it mom guilt, where you have goals and dreams and you're a driven person and you're a mom. And so it's definitely a prioritizing act. But having or finding that thing that you and your child share, that's a common interest, really takes the relationship to a different place. It just opens them up. Like it's just a really, I feel like that, because for me and my oldest, our common thing is volleyball. So we complain about the coaches. We complain about coach's favorite. You got to dig. You got to lift them weights, girl. You going to the gym? Okay, you need to get in the gym. Where's your protein? And we know what we're talking about. And it's that thing. So we kind of go back and forth with it, you know? So it eases, I say, the mom guilt a little bit, because with that commonality, now you guys can have that conversation like, hey, I'm not going to make it, sorry about that. But yeah, and y'all can talk, and they start opening up to you, and then you guys just start gelling in a way that it goes and supersedes like, oh, that's just my mom.
Well, the other thing I have also put onus on my children too. And I would say, if you want mom to be there, you got to make sure you tell mom. Don't assume mom knows. Make sure I know.
Mind reading powers.
Yes. Make sure I'm putting it on my calendar. Because sometimes you miss things because the kids may not have reminded you. You got to remind mom. And so what that has done is put a little bit more ownership on my kids to have them grow up and be a little bit more responsible.
That's right.
And so forth. Because if I know, I'm going to be there. If I can be there, I'm going to be there. Yeah. But I have to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's the thing I want to ask you too, because your industry is so public, because you do public relations. For someone who is, let's say they've been in business, because our audience is full of entrepreneurs, want to be entrepreneurs in the game for some time. What would you tell them is like one of the foundational things to understand about public relations? Because I feel like with the advent of social media, people focus so much on social that they forget that there's a completely big world out there, and where public relations really takes the forefront to help them with their brand and their company. So what would you say is like a foundational understanding that entrepreneurs should know about public relations?
I think it's important that people actually really have a product or service.
Okay.
What most people are offering on social media now is an image, but they're not really, if you look beyond the image, there's no product and there's no real service. In order for you really to say, I need public relations, you have to have something tangible. And because that takes you off of social media, right? That takes you into the real world. And when you start talking about Forbes and Entrepreneur, Good Morning America, Today Show, 2020, you have to be verified. They're not putting just anybody before them, right? And so when you're talking about coming to an agency such as mine, because I'm not one of those social media publicists, we are the real thing. When you come to an agency such as what we do, you really, truly have to have an understanding of what it is. I've had people call me sometimes, Dr. Faith, and say, I just want you to make me famous. And I'm like, famous for what? What do you do? Right. And I tell them, if you're looking for that overnight Kim Kardashian type success, I'm probably not the publicist for you. But I want to correct something. I don't want people to think that I'm throwing shade to Kim, because Kim is probably one of the hardest working people out there today, right? Because she maximized on that situation, and she didn't sit there.
Okay, sorry, you're going to continue.
You're going to continue,
but we have this conversation too. And it's so sad that you see people just kind of vilify her online and just feel like she's just a one-act success. But she's not the only person who had a sex tape out there.
That's right.
That woman works harder than most people who criticize her online. Like, to be able to take something that would have been a negative occurrence that would have maybe killed her career forever, not only turning around, but reinventing herself and stay relevant over and over and over again. Usually superstars don't last 10 years. That's the maximum. 10 years, you're out, right? She's still relevant. She's still making money, probably close to a billionaire right now. I mean, they don't just give that woman enough respect for what she has accomplished with her life, good or bad, whether you like the way she did it or not, but to just look at it from a very critical place and say, you know what, she's smart, she's ambitious, she's worked hard for whatever she's achieved, So I mean, it was intriguing that you mentioned that, because a lot of people just feel, oh no, she's nothing, she just show her body. Well, I'm like, that's not enough.
I would say this,
most of the people that show their body and they are not on that level.
Well, I think the other thing too is, and this is where good public relations come in, is whether they like her or not, they're watching and they're talking, they're tuning in, and they're still buying whatever they see her wear, whatever she endorses. So at the end of the day, you have to understand, public relations is not always just about people liking you. I do need to make you a likable figure, but it's really people knowing who you are,
right,
and talking about you.
Yes.
And as long as they're talking about you and they know who you are, they're going to innately support you, whether they like you or not, because they're watching, right? The way that Kim is able to continue to get these $1 billion deals, $1 billion opportunities, is because she has the eyeballs of the people, whether it's from a negative place or a positive place. They know that she has them. And at the end of the day, the only thing you should worry about is the mindset of corporate America. Because corporate America, they're the ones who's writing the checks. They're writing the checks because the naysayers are over here with their opinions that really mean absolutely nothing.
Right.
It's not going to stop her from being the next billionaire in her family. It's not. So the key thing in business, and I think you guys know this, is to remove the emotion. If you remove the emotion and stay focused on the end goal, and you can remove all the noise. See, one of the areas that I focus in is the removal of noise. I don't pay attention to noise. I pay attention to where we're trying to go. Yes. The noise is facilitating where you're trying to go. And so that is the piece that one has to pay attention to.
The noise is facilitating where you want to go. That's what you just said.
Yes.
So, okay, I wish we could just pause. No, because that's good. Because now a lot of things make sense. Even we were talking about earlier, Jada and Will.
That's right.
The noise is facilitating where you want to go.
Everybody knows she has a new book. Everybody.
Yeah. I know because of that interview. I didn't know before.
Right.
The noise is facilitating where you want to go. And then now you couple that with, it's not necessarily about being liked.
That's right.
And I think that's the biggest key, because sometimes people, even entrepreneurs, move in a way that is, well, I just want people to support me. I want people to like me. So I'm doing this for the likes. I'm doing this for views. And they kind of run away from anything that would be controversial, or maybe a lot of people don't hold this same belief, but yet the noise can facilitate where you want to go. If you don't quote that, listen, I'm going to take that quote, because that makes so much sense.
Yeah, I tell my clients this all the time.
Yes.
My job is to determine what it is about you that's going to get you to the front of the line the fastest. And most times that is going to be something that is extremely controversial.
Wow.
And because it's going to make people talk, whether they like what you've done or what you said or not, they're talking. And once they're talking, your name is being said. See, it takes people typically at least 6 different touch points of seeing you and your brand before your name resonates. Right. I could have met you 3 different times, and I may be, I don't know where I met. I remember seeing her. Typically, it takes a person 6 touch points. So seeing the brand Vonza on billboards may not be just enough. They got to see Vonza. They got to hear it on the radio. They got to see it on social media. They got to go to a conference and see the sponsorships. You have to be able to be strategically placed in multiple areas in order for people for it to resonate, a brand, because there's so much going on out here. You're competing against everything else.
That's right.
Everything else. And so staying safe and being safe and always choosing safe topics, you're going to blend into the background.
Wow.
So that's why Jada is winning right now. We're having a conversation right now because of the noise.
Right.
So guess what? There's other people that's watching this podcast right now who may not even have known that she had a book dropping, then now they will know. The noise continues to trickle. It's working for her. They're doing an excellent job on her public relations and crisis management. Excellent.
Wow. Okay, that was a bomb drop right there. Like we told you, man, Ebony is amazing, And let me just quickly say too that this episode is sponsored by Vonza, which is the all-in-one platform for you to run your business online. So if you have a course, an idea, a product, a service you want to run online, the old way is to pay for multiple tools and try to tie them all together to make you work. But right now, Vonza streamlines that process for you, gives you all the tools you need for your online business, all in one single place. So now we're going to get back to the episode with Ebony. So Ebony, now, so your specialty is public relations, right? And you work with celebrities and famous people. And somebody might be watching right now, maybe they're just starting out in their entrepreneurship business, right? Or journey. And they might not be able to afford you yet, right? So, but can you just give somebody what's the best steps to get press or public relations, or to really put their name, their brand, whatever they do out there, if they're just starting out and they cannot afford to work with you yet,
So let me just say this. I don't just work with celebrities. Okay. I do work with celebrities. I do work with athletes, but I also work with small business owners, Fortune 500 companies, nonprofits, politicians, professionals, doctors, attorneys, lawyer, lawyers are attorneys are the same thing. But so I don't want to leave that perception, right? We are
want to become famous. She can help.
We are a premium agency, though, okay. And so there with a premium agency, there is a premium cost, but definitely don't shy away from calling our offices to get and have a conversation, because sometimes people are afraid and they don't even know what it is, right? So let's at least have the conversation. But what I would say is, what every small business should do is become sure about what it is that they're doing, meaning who is your target audience, and go hard on your target audience. With that being said, what is your philanthropy? What are you doing to give back? If you're in your communities and you're doing give back work and you can be seen supporting and giving back, right there you potentially can get free press, because most times these nonprofit organizations have a PR agency that will be able to get press on what is happening around that philanthropy, and you being a supporter of that will also be able to help you there. I would also say visibility. Get out there. You staying at home and thinking you're going to become an overnight success sitting at home. No, you have to get out. You're going to have to network. You have to know your elevator speech. What is it that you offer? What is it that you do? And how are you making society better? If you can answer those three things in a conversation, and you continuously, you're going to have to, without a publicist, you got to be able to be comfortable selling yourself. You got to talk. You got to let people know what it is that you're doing and how you plan to make their lives better. And I would just say, you just got to get out there. You got to get out there as much as possible. Stay on the forefront. But I will say this. If you have a line item in your budget, the very first thing you should invest in is PR and marketing. If that was the last, and Bill Gates said if the only thing that he could pay for would be PR and marketing, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in PR, what I will say is, if you can have the best product or the best service.
Right.
Best. But if nobody knows that it exists or that you exist, it doesn't exist.
That's right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Right. And then most people get angry. Oh, this person came along and they stole my idea. I did it first. It doesn't matter who does it first. All that matters is who made the biggest noise. So no one cares about you were the first.
Wow. So what tips can you give to somebody to make the biggest noise if they have a limited budget, for example?
One is social media. Social media is a free tool that I am annoyed by when I see and hear people say, I don't do social media. Well, if you're in business, whether you like it or not, you should be doing social media. Social media is free for right now, and you need to maximize on it. And I will tell you, social media ads are not that expensive.
Right. And it's so interesting you said that, because I just having that conversation with one of my coaching client recently too. And she was like, oh, I don't like to do social media. I'm like, okay, you have a choice. You got to do social media or you got to do money. It's either or, right?
You got to pay or serve.
You got to pay.
Pay or serve.
Right? You're going to use your free social media, free Facebook. Like Mark Zuckerberg doesn't charge you to post, to connect with people, to you can DM, you can do.
But he does charge you, because you think about the way that they're squeezing down our ability to post for free.
But at least you can still post and 50 people might see it, right? Compared to if you don't do that, and you want to get 50 people, you have to run ads to do something.
Or move to TikTok. Go to TikTok.
Like that, right? So, in other words, right, you have to do marketing. You got to use social media, right? No matter whether you like it or not.
That's right.
Most of us don't like it. We don't. But is it necessary to do what we need to do so we can serve our clients and connect with them? So
every business should have a social media plan.
Right.
And what I will say is, if you have limited funds, go to TikTok. TikTok right now is a place where you can go and you're not being limited in your ability for your message to be seen. It has the most hit rates for non-followers, people not knowing who you are right now. Be smart about it, right? But I would recommend having a presence on every single one of the platforms if you are trying to get out there. I think not having social media is a big Listen, it's a lot of people who made themselves a lot of money solely on social media.
Right.
Charlie D'Amelio.
Solely.
Because what does she really do?
Even Mr. Beast.
Hey, listen.
That's
But Mr. Beast brings cross-generational entertainment. That's how I would, because I can watch Mr. Beast with my 8-year-old.
8-year-old watches him.
My 16-year-old can come through. Yeah.
All age spectrum. I never see anybody done.
Unless they don't know about him, there's something that he's done that people have connected to.
And guess what? I don't know who Mr. Beast is. But that's one thing I tell people this all the time too. You can have 5 billion followers.
Yeah.
But it's some people out here who still don't know who you are, right?
So, Mr. Beast, you still got some work to do.
You got work to do.
I don't know who Mr. Beast is.
Okay, you still got some work to do because that guy posts a video in 24 hours on YouTube can get like 100 million views. And yet, there's still people that still don't know him.
Don't know him.
That's where everybody needs to continue to do marketing.
You got to keep working. Keep working.
You can't just get comfortable because there's still people that don't know you, right, in what you do. Wow.
Woo. See, now y'all got me thinking over here because this is some really good stuff. So you said, yes, and TikTok, you had mentioned TikTok because TikTok's algorithm right now caters to just getting it out there to people who would be interested in your topic, not necessarily, they don't focus on your current followers.
That's right.
They focus on people who...
The topic. And who could be your follower because they're interested in that content that you're putting out. So that's a really great source. And then if they do have the money, let's say the budget is there, they've gotten funding, they came to Making Millions Mastermind, learned about business funding, and now they're ready and suited and booted for PR and to pay for premium PR. What would be the first thing that you would tell them to do if they walk through your Well, see, one of the things we do...
And sign the contract.
Well, because we are a premium PR agency, we don't have a cookie cutter approach.
Okay.
So the first thing we do is have a onboarding session. And what I advise each and every one of my clients is different. Because depending on where you are and what you're trying to accomplish. But what I will say this, I did not say this before you got to the second question. The other thing that a person can do if they have limited is they need to really invest in spending time with building a tribe. It is very important to, if you have limited influence and you have limited funds, connect with other people and see if you can speak on their platform, because their platform then introduces you to a whole new group of people who didn't know who you were. Right. And so the more that you can build tribes and relationships with outside organizations or outside people, that is also getting your name and brand out there organically. So I did want to make sure that I stated that. Now, some people who come to our agency just still don't know that who these other tribes are. They may not have the influence to be able to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, so-and-so, hey, Dr. Uwe, I have a client that would like to speak on your platform. We just did that a couple of weeks ago. Right. They wouldn't have been able to get a hold of you.
I probably would not
have been able to respond. And even if you would have, you probably would have taken a little bit more time because you'd have been like, well, who is this? And da-da-da. But because of the relationship that you and I have built in business, you were able to say, well, wait a minute. I know Ebony has this agency. I know she has this caliber of client. She is da-da-da-da. Let me go ahead and this person was able to maximize off of that relationship. So that's where public relations comes into play, because the relationships that your publicist should have should be able to supersede things that you can't do. If your publicist can only do the exact same things that you can do, then that's not a fit.
Right.
It's not a fit.
Wow. That is so amazing, amazing, amazing. So we're going to be bringing the podcast episode to a close in a few. So what else will you want to share that we'll probably have not asked you so far? Because I know there's so much you do and know and knowledge. So what else would you like to share?
I think I just want to, share that people should always be authentic to who they are. I think some of the biggest problems that we have is that people are trying to build brands or build images off of something they saw that worked for someone else.
Yes.
Right? So let's say that I was watching social media and I saw, oh, wow, this worked for Dr. Faith. And then all of a sudden I started trying to emulate who Dr. Faith was. Start trying to wear my hair like her and dress like her and talk like her and do the same social media ads. It's not going to work for me. It's only going to work for Dr. Faith.
Right.
And so I think that's what people need to do. I think they need to really figure out what is it that is them, be true to it.
Wow.
And drive that home. I think that's important. Authenticity is what sells. People buy because they like you. Yes, the product may be great, but I guarantee you a lot of people that come and support Vonza, they come and support Vonza because of you, Dr. Faith, and you, Dr. Uwe. They like you. They trust you. They listen to you. And then they say, well, they're successful. I like them. They're smart. Let me see what it is that they offer. And then they begin to look into the product. So I would say, be true, be who you are. And that's the only thing, that's the biggest advice I would probably provide to anybody.
Wow. I know you have something to say, but there's something she said that was so powerful. Authenticity is what sells. Is what sells. For you to be yourself, don't try to copy this person, that person, then you lose your own identity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing. And we compare ourselves a lot because social media it does give us the opportunity to look, even if it's 5% into the life of somebody else. It might be that 5% that we're just drawn to and we want to emulate and we want to come out of our own lives, but not at the sacrifice of our own authenticity. And like for us, one of the things, and I don't know if you mind me sharing this, but your thing for some time was your accent.
Yeah.
And he was just like, babe, you do it, you record it,
I was very
do the
insecure
voiceover.
about
Yes.
accents,
Because he wanted time to drop the accent a little bit and be more clear. And I'm like, babe, we finna work that accent. You hear me? And so sometimes I'll be on stage and I was like, did y'all hear what he said? Did you hear past his accent? And people will laugh. And because they're like, yeah, he does have an accent. Or sometimes I'll say stuff like, okay, so next time you hear that accent, you know it's Vonza. You know it's us. And it's something you may keep working on it and it may go down, but it's true to him.
That's right. It's who he is.
It's who he is.
I tell people this, you have to face into your biggest insecurity. And in your biggest insecurity, you will find your millions. So where for him, that may be a sore spot, that is where his millions reside. That's what's going to make him stand out. Like you said, people are going to remember Dr. Uwe. And then they're going to remember, oh, wait a minute. He's from Nigeria. Then they follow his page and see all of the philanthropy that he's doing over there and how he is being true to the man that he is. I think people respond well to that. And the other thing, he's going to be a focal point to so many other people that are going to say, wait a minute, I'm not from America, but I came over here and I was able to do it. And if he was able to do it, I can do it too. So I think you just have to know how to take whatever your insecurity is and curate a story around it. Don't run from it. Embrace it. Look at Oprah. She made billions off of facing the fact that she was insecure about her weight.
Yeah.
Now she has this whole big relationship with Weight Watchers.
Yes.
Face into what your insecurities are, right? And go there. I think trying to hide from it, you're allowing people to have power over you. And they'll use that. And so instead of embracing your accent, they'll use it as a weapon against you.
Yeah.
And no, don't ever give that much power to someone else.
Absolutely. And I think to this day, one of Oprah's most moments of fame is when she brought out that wagon on her show with that fat and like, this is what once was on my body is now in this wagon.
And then it came back.
And it came back.
But guess what that did too? That also made her real because that is the battle that most Americans have.
Yes.
They lose weight. They go and buy the smallest pair of jeans that fit, and then next year they can't fit. It's reality. And that's why people loved Oprah. Oprah battled with the same challenges that every other woman at home battled with. And they related to it.
And to this day, people say that was when they connected and resonated with Oprah.
Well, people connected and resonated with Beyonce when she came out with the Lemonade album.
Okay.
It's unfortunate. But it's unfortunate. People tend to relate to challenges that people have because they're going through them at home. And no one, I think the thing.
Prior to that, sorry, they didn't think she had any personal
It was
problem.
perfection.
No, her life
it was perfect.
Everything was just polished.
It was perfection.
But that's when she really grew that deep tribe. Like, oh my God, I can vibe with her because I've been through that too. Or I know homegirl.
I know how I felt.
You know?
Yeah.
I wanted to take a bat and beat,
Yeah, that is how so many people were able to connect with her. And it was the authenticity. She could have hid it. She could have been afraid and embarrassed and tried to lie about it to the tabloids. But instead, she owned the story. She told it before someone else could tell it and made millions off of it.
I think her tour, they said, is the highest grossing over 564 million.
She made a bunch of money from it, and he made a bunch of money because he talked about it in his album too.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. You need to take your insecurity.
Wow.
Again, it wasn't something that was polished, and it wasn't something that made people feel good. They admitted to having infidelity in their marriage, but look how many other people out there could relate to that. And they were able to market that and make money off of it. So my point again, when I say a good public relations practitioner can take whatever it is and create the noise that will get you to the end goal.
Okay. All right. So this episode just put $1 million in your bank account. And
wow.
When you hit that first or next $1 million, please remember to send us and Ebony a little check. Because she just broke it down. I mean, we covered a lot during this, almost an hour episode, from marriage, balancing, marriage, husband, children, career, business, to publicity, to marketing, to letting go of your fears and letting the noise to move you forward towards your dreams and your goals. And now my biggest takeaway really is just, for me personally, is authenticity is what sells. And I think that's going to be the title of this episode,
Good.
because it's powerful. And the truth is that for a lot of people, we still have some areas in our lives that we still struggle with when it comes to authenticity. Like I still struggle with my accent. I mean, I'm very educated, but I can't pronounce some words because there's a wiring in my brain to say, you're going to say it wrong. Like yesterday, what was the word you're teaching me? Resilient, right?
He says resilience. He says resilience, but it's resilient.
I'm still learning how to pronounce.
But it's just the way your tongue is because of the language that you grew up speaking.
Yeah.
So
So I still have insecurity with that. I mean, to a large extent, I'm not allowed it to stop me from being successful. But I know that for me to get to my next level, I have to continue to own into my insecurities and walk through them. Sometimes God will not take everything away from you, but just gives you enough grace to walk through it so you can do what He's called you to do on the earth. So that might be for somebody out there. Maybe you're a creator, an entrepreneur. Don't let nothing stop you. Don't say, I don't have money. Ebony just told you how you can get publicity for free without money. Don't say, I can't afford it. Oh, she said she work with anybody that, just call our office, but we'll give an opportunity for her to really kind of share how we can connect with her. But finally, this is going to be your comment right there. Maybe talk to somebody for maybe 60 seconds, just share from your heart wherever God put in your heart for that person watching. And then afterwards, you give, where they can find you, connect with you or something.
I think what God is placing on my heart now is that we're living in a very, very, very challenging time right now. There's a lot of people that are hurting. And there are a lot of people who are living facades. I think it's very important right now that people be genuine and authentic in their offerings. Make sure that the business that you start and the business that you serve are things that are going to make society better and not rape the society. I think right now we as entrepreneurs have a huge responsibility to actually grow and build this world back up, because right now we're depleted. If you wanted to find me and follow me, my personal IG is the Ebony Porter Ike, and that's spelled Ike. That's on IG. And then my business IG is at EPI Media Group. If you're looking to contact our office, we're at 770-635-8170. And then our website is www.epimediagroup.com.
Awesome. All right. So please, I just want to say one more time for the person at the back, what do you do? What's your superpower? How can they connect with you? What problem do you solve for small business owners and also to corporate clients?
One thing that I do is I help elevate your visibility. My job is to make sure that you get the maximum amount of visibility and the maximum amount of ROI on your investment. I think it's very important that you understand that my company's main goal of solving for you is to make sure that more eyeballs, more people know who you are. More people are saying your name, that you grace more stages, that you're on more podcasts, that you're on the cover of more magazines. And at the end of the day, your product sells exponentially more.
Amazing. Amazing.
Wow. Well, guys, if you didn't get anything from this interview, I don't know what to tell you, because gems were flying left and right. So grab what you need and put it into action, especially that authenticity. We need your voice. No one else can do it the way you do it. Give it to us.
All right. So thank you guys for watching another episode of the New Rich Podcast, one of the fastest growing podcasts for entrepreneurs and creators, where we bring in really dope and powerful and successful guests who have done so many wonderful things to help us and to help you to grow your business faster and stronger. Until next episode, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And once again, I want to appreciate and thank you, Ebony Porter Ike, for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Till next time, see you, New Rich Nation.
Bye.